What's happening?
Yo,
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, out there on this beautiful Sunday morning?
yes,
We are awake.
mm-hmm.
We are here.
Yes, sir.
We are here to talk with y'all.
Definitely. Welcome to another episode of the JaySin podcast. Once
Hey,
again, this is your boy Jay Hunter.
it's your boy Sincere Da Vinci.
We out here.
Hey, okay. So I want to let the people know that we appreciate y'all coming through with us this morning.
Definitely.
You heard? We appreciate y'all popping up. We appreciate y'all coming out. I'm interested to see how many people show up on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that.
During the week, it's a little bit different because you can turn this on while you're at the gig, while you running. I want to see how many people are actually up listening to us on a Sunday morning.
Correct.
Doesn't mean we don't care about the people tuning in, listening to us later on as you're listening, as the podcast is not live streaming. But I'm just curious as how many people are going to get their ass up on Sunday morning and come hang with us. Because I got my ass up this morning.
Yeah,
And
pretty
believe me,
much.
it was lit last night.
Mm.
It was, hey, you sent your boy.
Hey.
hey, okay. Hey, okay, we here.
It was a good morning,
It was a
basically.
good evening. It was a good morning.
Okay.
We are here. How was your weekend? How was your night?
Well, my weekend was
Oh, your
pretty.
week.
My week was pretty much productive. I came back from Dominican Republic
That had to
two
be a
Thursdays
downer.
ago, basically.
That had to be a downer for you.
Yeah, it was pretty much a downer because you got to come back to reality. You got to come back to the flow of things again, and it was quite an adjustment. It always is, actually. When I go out on vacation and I come back, to to my livelihood again. But either way, it was somewhat of a slow week, which I think is a good thing as well. And I just rocked out. I just made the best of it. And that's about it. Missing everybody out in Dominican Republic at the moment, obviously, and we'll be back in January. So I'm putting that out right now on this show. We'll be back out there probably the end of January for my birthday, which is on the 25th. So
Hey,
we'll
so
be
we
out
in
there for that.
DR being great, and you
And
know what?
remember, while I was out in DR, you weren't out there with me.
No,
There was the massive blackout of the three major platforms with WhatsApp, Facebook,
yep,
and Instagram.
that was special. That was
Because we were supposed to
something
have a
special.
show that day,
Yeah,
actually.
and we couldn't do anything. We couldn't
Mm-hmm.
do not a thing. So it was interesting. It was very interesting. But shout out to Heather. Also, she's
Shout
living
out to
her
Miss
best life.
West.
Living her best life out on the West Coast right now. Texting me as we speak. So shout out to Heather. My week has been very simple and
Mm.
has been. I started at the new spot, my new gig. For those who don't know, I'm not a huge 9 to 5 person. I got a new 9 to 5 this week, so that's where I'll be. Um, it was a it was a it was time to try something for where I am in life right now. It was time to. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that you don't know, and for me to be able to secure something where I am just staying without having to move around with everything that's going on. Once again, about my leg, there are things going on. Like I said, behind the scenes that are gonna kind of keep us planted here for a bit. Um, I don't move around like I have been, especially with the pandemic and everything in and of itself. Just kind of over the last 2 years has made me want to go ahead and secure a little bit something here, and I did. So I'm happy. I'm happy with my situation. So it was just a little bit weird getting back into the waking up uh, when someone else tells me to wake up, kind of thing.
Yeah, of course.
That was the biggest thing.
Hmm.
Um,
It's all an adjustment, and life primarily is really all about adjustment, and how well you do those adjustments, how well you take it, how well you assimilate it. So I totally understand where you're coming from. And totally, I felt the same way going from DR coming back to New York. So it's similar in a way where, you just have to adjust to things, but it's all a part of life, and you have a great head on your shoulders, and, you have a great wife as well. So, you know, just
oh,
make the best of it.
oh yeah, yeah, yes sir, yes sir. Um, Also, don't forget, bam, right here. Go get some of that JaySin merch. Go get it. Go do it. Go make it happen. Boom. JaySin merch.
Get that merch, pod folk.
Go do it. Let's make it happen.
Make those clicks.
All
Get
right,
that merch.
let's get in. Let's go ahead and get to work.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna go ahead and start here.
First is first.
Squid Game has officially become the most streamed anything, movie, show, whatever, on Netflix's streaming platform ever.
Mm-hmm.
Have you watched it, and what did you think of it?
I haven't watched it, but I've actually read about it. And I think it's pretty interesting because a lot of people have obviously positive things to say about it and negative things to say about it as well. But, everything is based, or loosely based at least, on reality. And the fact that this show is on at the moment, a lot of people, have a lot of mixed reviews on what people, actually go through, what is real and what is not. And the fact that you're playing a game, in order to sustain a living is pretty daunting, I think, and to face death, that's a spoiler alert, pod folk, to face death for a children's game, it's very, 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 very intriguing. And you just think about just life in general, basically, and what people have to go through in order to survive, basically.
I watched it. I watched
Mhm.
the whole show. For those people who don't know, I actually
They're just on
enjoy.
their first season.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know if they'll get the second season. I don't see why they wouldn't.
Right.
But streaming and Netflix and things are weird. But anyway, um, I got the, I got it, and I enjoyed it. I watched it. I enjoyed it. It wasn't a 10 out of 10.
Right.
It was maybe a 7 out of 10. It was enjoyable. The games itself were pretty dope. Like, but a lot of it, if you pay attention, you see the big twist coming. Um, you kind of can tell how the story is playing out. You know who has to be at the end, so that kind of takes a lot of the anxiety and a lot of the suspense out of it, because who has to be at the end for this to work. Like,
Correct.
so that was cool. But the concept about behind these shows is always what really makes these shows great, in this kind of Korean cinema, that the kind of Korean show that this is it's not necessarily so much about the game. It's about the sets. The sets on this, the sets, bro, are incredible. Like the visual
Right.
sets, the games that they're playing, the way it is visually set up, the like just visually, it is incredible.
Cinematography,
Like
basically.
the
Yeah.
cinematography behind it is
Yeah.
incredible. The art, the
Hmm.
set work is incredible. The
It seems that way. It
backstories,
looks that way. Mhm.
the backstories, they really do a really, really great job of building empathetic characters, of having you feel and knowing each one of these characters' situations, so you know truly what each of them is fighting for, and you really do want each of them to win, but you know when it all comes down to it that they can't, and that's where shows like this do really good because they pull at those strings. There's another show that I actually liked better than Squid Game called Alice in Borderlands,
I've heard of that as well,
and
actually.
it's along the same concept
Right.
of the game and the so on and so forth, but it just to me it just executed it a little better, and it was meant for a little what seemed maybe a more 2021 audience because this was written Squid Game was written in 2008. So even if it was, updated a bit, it was written with the tone of 2008.
Correct.
Alice in Borderland, it might be older, but it definitely was revised to be a younger crowd because it was definitely about a younger crowd. It was about, like it was a lot of partying and all that. Like it was like I said, it was a younger game.
Correct.
So it came across different. But Squid Game was a great watch. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to Netflix for
their success.
With this.
Yeah.
And we wish nothing but the best. We look forward to seeing what you guys do.
Yeah, they're basically dubbing it the most popular stream, basically, of all time on the Netflix platform, which is a lot to say because we know Netflix is a mighty giant at this moment in time when it comes to the streaming game.
Well, while we're on Netflix, Dave Chappelle dropped his sixth and final, at least for the moment, stand-up on Netflix called The Closer.
Mr. Chappelle Show.
The Closer has gotten a lot of feedback and a lot of negative static.
A lot of backlash, definitely.
Both the internet, the LGBT community, from everyone, pretty much.
Trans community, yeah.
From everyone, pretty much. Even some Netflix employees. But Netflix is standing behind its product.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Chappelle stand-up? Have you not? And how do you feel about it?
Yes, I saw it, and I'll be quite honest, bro. To me, it was a little bit underwhelming. I felt like he clearly had an agenda, during this stand-up, and I think he successfully executed that agenda. And there were like laughs like in between here and there. I wasn't ha 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 all throughout it. And there were little laughs like here and there. And I don't know, I think he may be losing a little bit of his essence in this case, because you're a comedian, so you have to somewhat entertain people while you're targeting, a certain group. And it just felt like he targeted a certain group the whole entire time. And, there was just I just didn't really enjoy it the way I thoroughly enjoyed Dave Chappelle. But again, each stand-up or each performance he has a particular agenda, has a particular message. So maybe that's something that he wanted to put out at this time, So you really can't blame, comedians to me are artists as well. It's a form of art in order to entertain people. And he chose to put this product out maybe this time. Maybe the next time he puts out, a stand-up, it's going to be a lot funnier, or there's going to be something more worth laughing about. But this is all personally my opinion, because there are other people who actually found this very funny, and who were laughing all throughout. But me personally, I found it a little bit underwhelming, and it's not the essence of Dave that I'm used to seeing, virtually and even sonically.
Yep.
So it was just a little bit disappointing, I'd say. But obviously Netflix is going to back him up, because I'm sure they reviewed it and they saw it prior to releasing it. I think, I'm not sure how the contract is set up, between him and Netflix. But yeah, I'll be quite honest, brother. It was It was a little bit underwhelming, I think, but teach his own. Teach his own. I think when it comes to like music, when it comes to comedy, when it comes to anything in the world, it's purely subjective, at this moment in time, as the many other topics we're going to be talking about. It's purely subjective, it's purely based on opinion and how you see things and your perspective.
I think that is the biggest. That might be the biggest part of what this is all about. It's
Right.
about what you choose to consume. I Dave Chappelle is, and I've said this before, and I'll stand by it. Dave Chappelle is my favorite stand-up comedian
Of all time, yeah.
of all time.
Hmm.
I've been saying that for years, and I am going to stand on that now. My issue with Dave, sorry, my issue is never with, especially when it comes to an artist and his craft or her craft. Um, it is hard. It is hard to uh it is hard for me to listen and watch and not feel like he has an agenda, like you said. But he does. He wants to get his point across. Now, these are jokes. You might not find them funny, but these are jokes. As he said before, it's not like he forced himself onto your screen. You had to go searching this out. You had to go and look for this. This is something you had to actively get up and search for. You had to go find him on your free time and get offended at the first joke and continue to sit there for the next 72 minutes. That was on you. No one forced you to watch this man tell jokes. Not a single soul. You decided to sit there and listen to it. Now, because you decided to sit there and listen to it, now you want the world to know how unhappy you are with what you were listening to. But this is the same thing that happened when his last special came out. And this is the same thing what happened with the special before that. And this is the same thing that happens with pretty much any special that Dave Chappelle puts out. He's made it his business to make you targets because he knows, one, you're going to promote it for free like a motherfucker because you're going to complain about it. Two, he's now made it a target because he knows that these are things he deals with. These are hot topics. And again, these are things he has to deal with. And obviously, he in the past, he's made a lot of public statements about, especially the Black Lives Matter and about police brutality and so on and so forth. He has a whole 8-minute clip about that, about George Floyd and about all of that. And no one ever gets offended about those, and nobody ever gets upset about that. But now he turns around and he literally takes that same imagery and puts it up against what he feels the world views the LGBT community, and that's his right to, and people are upset. It's his choice. He gets to speak this way. You don't have to listen. I'm not going to keep doing this with you. I'm not going to keep arguing this point. It's become mute at this point. If you don't like a film, if you don't like a comedian, if you don't like whatever is happening, then, you know, don't watch it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, pretty much. And we see this example over and over and over again where it becomes moot, like you said, because for instance, we've been talking about, for instance, Lil Nas X. You know, it's something that we personally don't choose to consume. So we kind of don't let those things bother us, you know, and it goes with everything else in life, you know. You consume what you want to consume. After you consume it, if you have criticisms or whatever, don't consume it anymore. It's just as simple as that. But you know how it is.
Yeah,
People always need something to talk about.
and I'm not even mad at realize I'm not upset about people being
Of course not.
feeling that they were targeted or feeling like they were spoken, feeling like some of his jokes went too far. You can feel how you feel. That is your opinion. I am not going to tell you what like how to feel. That is for you. What
Exactly.
I want to know is why you decided to sit through something you knew was going to be offensive to you. I would not get up and go to a show that I knew the comedian was going to tell offensive black man jokes. Or the first time I got offended at a black joke that he told, I was out of there. I was out of there.
Right.
I'm not going to sit and watch someone make jokes about black people all night. I'm not. I'm not going to allow myself or my wife, my nephews, my anybody around me to do it. I'm definitely not going to go and click on it if I've seen it before and I know that that is his history and I don't like this comedian. I'm
Correct.
sure as fuck not going to go click on his Netflix special
No, it's
to
not.
go see
Doesn't
what he
make any
has to say.
sense
It
because
doesn't make sense.
the content or the product is not going to change.
Right. So if you're offended by what he's saying, you probably are offended. He probably wanted you offended. No one's surprised that you're offended. What he was
Exactly.
saying was offensive.
Of course.
The real question to me is why did you find the need to be in there?
Correct.
Why did you have to walk into a place you know was going to be offensive
Mhm.
just to be offended and tell everyone how offended you were? It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. It doesn't at all. When you already
Since
know the content and what that person is bringing to the table,
exactly.
you
Well, since
know,
I think this is a good segue because this is kind of the other side of the same coin.
definitely.
Meek Mill album art
Hmm.
has popped up in a couple places. One of them being the side of a bus in LA. The bus was completely wrapped in the artwork of Meek Mill's latest album, Expensive Pain. People were very, very offended by it. White people were offended by it.
And
Uh,
outraged, and
outraged.
actually, a lot of black women were as well.
Now, how do you feel about this artwork? How do you feel about the artwork being wrapped around a bus?
Bro, I go to the same thing once again that I said earlier. It's his art. It's the way he chooses to express himself through his music. And once again, you're going to have people who are going to be for it. You're going to have people who are going to be against it. But once again, it's his art, it's his perspective, it's his opinion. It's what he chooses to bring to the table to you. Whether you want to accept it, assimilate it or not, it's totally up to you as a person. I personally could see why it would be offensive to, people. Definitely. I could definitely see
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh
And you
yeah.
have every right to be offended by
Oh
it,
yeah.
you know. Then again, I can also see the other side of the coin of why people would think that, all right, like, maybe it wasn't a big deal. Maybe there are other bigger things going on currently in the
it's
world.
it's digital pussy on the side of a bus. There is a digital vagina on the side of a public bus in LA. There are digital black women twerking on the side of a bus, busting it open. and there's digital titties. They didn't. There's actual digital black woman titties
Correct.
on the side of a LA bus
And
that
digital booty too.
that drives through
Mhm.
every neighborhood day and night in LA.
I mean, I can see why, they say that it's, over the top. So, I mean, but that's all I have to say, at this moment in time. I I don't have much else to say. That's his art. That's the way he chooses to express it. Um, I don't know if a little kid sees it, their parent is gonna have to explain what that's about, and that's actually their job to explain what that's about. And that's it, bro. I mean, I can't. We I just feel like sometimes we pick and choose, the wrong things to harp on, and I just feel like you could call me whatever, but when a black man does something, I feel like we're heavily criticized, like instantaneously. And we're targeted in such a way, like to basically destroy us. And it's just like there's just so many other things going on in the world right now that are so like in need of attention, that this is like a case where it's like, yeah, I can understand where it can be offensive, but then people take it too far with their outrage. And it's just so selective to me these days when it comes to outrage, that it's just like, all right, like, get a grip. Yes, it could be offensive, but like, we can get over this. I don't know. That's just
No,
the way I feel.
I had a very difficult time with this because truly I believe artists should be artists, and artists should have the ability to do whatever they want with their artwork. Um, I felt that what Meek did was, for him, for his album work, it was okay. I kept hearing, I haven't done my homework to know if it's true or not, but I kept hearing that the artist who drew this actually is a black woman. The artist who created this artwork is actually a black woman. I've seen the outrage to the art. I've seen, the backlash of it. The I guess the way I feel about it is that when it's when it is chosen, when it is a chosen form of, when it is a chosen medium, I'm okay with it. What I mean by that is, we just talked about Dave Chappelle. When you turn on Netflix, you have to literally go to the Dave Chappelle special to uh you have to go to the Dave Chappelle. What's up, Pancho? You have to go to the Dave Chappelle special, open it up, and hit play for it to, you know what I mean, to for it to play. You can only be offended if you went looking for it in that way. The problem with Meek Mill's album art isn't the album art itself. It's the fact that you don't have a choice if you live in a certain area of LA. If you get to choose to consume this artwork or not, you don't get a choice, and that, I feel, is the problem, because you get a choice if you want to watch this film, if you want to listen to this song. You get a choice if these are your mediums. Unfortunately, you don't get a choice. Even if you decide, I don't want to deal with this, he has the right to put this out there. I'm just not going to consume it because I don't support it, or I don't want my daughter to see it. And then you have to get on this bus to get to work, or this has to be the bus that the child takes to school, or whatever the case may be. And that's the part I don't like, because it's forced on them. So but that was just how that was how I was doing it. Oh boy, I'm so tired of me. Like
Poncho was adding it.
what's up, BJ? What's up, Pancho? But that's just how I felt about this, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's that one thing. The difference between having that choice is a big deal. The difference between having that choice is a big deal. You choosing to seek out something you know is offensive is one thing. Because you know if you go and you watch Dave Chappelle, you're gonna be offended. But you have to turn on Netflix, you have to get to Netflix. What's up, mama? Love you too. You gotta get to Netflix, you gotta open Netflix up, you gotta get to the Dave Chappelle special, you gotta turn it on, you gotta watch, and then you gotta get to the offensive part.
Morning, mama. Love you.
Then you gotta get to the offensive part, and then you gotta be offended, and then your dumb ass gotta stay and watch the whole shit to be offended. You chose to be offended. If I have decided to keep my family and my children away from that Meek Mill album because of the artwork, and it's on the side of a bus now, an entire bus is wrapped in it in LA, and this is
Correct.
the bus that my child has to get on. There's nothing you can do. It's forced on you, and that's what I don't like. You should not force things. You should not force this because now it's not an art. Now it's not artwork anymore. It is a commercial.
Right. It's a promotion.
It's a
Right.
promotion,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all I'm saying.
Oh, I respect that. Definitely. I respect that opinion.
So,
It is definitely forced. Oh, it's
yeah,
speaking of forced, actually. I don't know if you saw a post that I published on my Facebook page, but there was a picture of, I guess, a Superman's son now
yeah,
comes out as being bisexual.
bisexual, yeah.
So, there's like, a lot of people feel that way that you described just now, that certain things are just being forced on them as well. But the difference is that we're talking about a bus compared to what you see on TV, which is the discrepancy that you made, which is perfect.
I feel like also with Superman. First off, people weren't smart enough to even. This is how I know. This is how I know. Y'all are not. You and your children are never going to be offended by the new Superman. This is how I know y'all are never going to be offended by by any of this happening about gay Superman and gay comic book characters. First and foremost, it is not Superman that we knew. It is not Clark Kent
It's not.
that is gay.
Mm-hmm.
It is him and Lois's teenage son. He's like 19 years old. He is now picking up the mantle of Superman because his
Right.
father's done enough for the world. And he's going to live his best life with his wife.
Exactly. And he's gonna go to
So,
the mountains and get nasty with Lewis.
exactly. So now his son, whom in this generation, look around you, is bisexual, that should not surprise you. But here's the deeper part. This is how I know y'all are never going to know what the fuck you're talking about, and that is never going to influence people. You would have known that if you actually had read it.
Mm-hmm.
If you had simply opened up the article and read the first 4 sentences, you would have known that it wasn't Clark Kent, that it was in
Correct.
fact his son. Which
Correct.
means that you wouldn't have been in the uproar anyway. Talking about why would they do this to our Superman? Why would we do this? We love him.
Right.
The fact that you couldn't read past the first 4 sentences of the article lets me know your non-reading ass ain't picking up a comic book to get offended.
Bless his heart.
So that's just me, because your ass couldn't read 4 sentences to figure out it wasn't Clark Kent. They're not going to be offended. Anyway.
But it's crazy because I didn't know that initially when I posted it, and someone actually corrected me. They was like, It's Superman's son, dude. I was like, okay, I stand corrected. But within my caption or within the comment that I put on that post was not offensive at all. It was just going with the flow with everything that's going on in the world and us just basically adapting and just relating to how things are today. And it makes even more sense that that's his son and that he's 19 and that we see what's going on around us.
Yep.
Big deal.
Okay.
Move on.
So, NBA preseason.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and talk about it. First off, let's just go ahead and get to Kyrie. Let's get Kyrie out the way. You know what? I'm gonna hold on 1 second. Hold on. Let's go ahead. Let me add this just to get it over with. Kyrie. There. Now let's talk about that. Let's talk about Kyrie. There we go. I'm gonna give you the floor for a second. So you talk about Kyrie, and I'll be back in 30 seconds. Or more, whatever you done. But go ahead and talk about Kyrie.
I mean, there's nothing to talk about Kyrie at the moment. That he's basically not going to be playing for the New York Nets for the foreseeable future, and he's probably going to be traded. I don't know how they're going to trade him, though. I mean, they're probably going to have multiple teams involved because it's going to be a case where his salary and his contract is just so much that he's basically they may have to think about buying him out in this case, is what I'm trying to say, is what I'm trying to get to, folk. So other than that, he's just not a distraction anymore. We thought, well, some people thought actually, and I'll credit Sincere with what I'm about to say at the moment, but we all thought, or a lot of us thought in this case, that it was gonna be a while basically until, he was gonna get either suspended or just removed from the team for the time being. So we actually spoke about it on the JaySin podcast OT on Monday. And this was this past Monday. And while we were talking about it,
Poncho, we're not talking about your bum ass Knicks right now.
Wait, we talking about NBA preseason, so obviously we're going to talk about the Knicks in a few as well.
Yeah, we are. We're going to talk about that, but not right now.
We were talking about it on the JaySin podcast OT, and we were actually predicting when Kyrie was basically going to be deactivated from the team, and it happened literally the day after. So it proved Sincere right. So I'm giving the credit over to Sincere for his prediction. It's not the biggest deal in the world either, because it's not a finals prediction.
No.
It's not a game prediction. It's not it's not huge, but it is significant, for the Nets in this case, to have a player like Kyrie basically deactivated from the team. If they didn't form any type of synergy with Kyrie, much less now, they're basically not gonna. He's not gonna be in the fold, not gonna be in the mix. They're not gonna form any type of chemistry at all, and they're basically just gonna have to find their way to the standings and to the playoffs, maybe without Kyrie.
Niggas is talking, like I said this before. Niggas talking like we had Kyrie and a bunch of misfit niggas, and we was barely hanging on to an 8th seed. We was smacking the niggas that you call the champions by 50 during the playoffs. Like, we're gonna be all right without this nigga. Like,
yeah, all right, but it doesn't look good in terms of like getting over the hump to win a championship.
We are still a championship team without Kyrie. The difference is between squashing an ant between your fingers and squashing an ant with a sledgehammer. That's the only difference.
I don't know. I don't know about all that.
Like I said,
James Harden, like I said, we'll see. That's that inner Nets fan talking. But
no, that's just looking at a roster. That's looking. You got KD,
which means nothing. If you're just looking at a paper,
don't get hurt. If them niggas don't get hurt, I mean, that's the same thing as when Kyrie was there. You was looking at a roster, and if them niggas didn't get hurt, everybody was curious last year. Let's see if it worked. And when them niggas was killing, I guess it does work. The same way they looked at, we wanted to see what happens when Chris Paul and James Harden got together. They wanted to see how it was going to work. It worked really well. James Harden and Chris Paul worked really well. Like, there are things that you don't have to wait to see. We know that KD and James Harden are going to work well.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch the preseason this year, you've already seen that. James Harden went through a whole game where he had 6 points and 13 assists and some shit like that. Shot the ball like 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
He understands. He don't have to be out there to put up 30, but I can. Let Joe Harris get going.
He's been more so a facilitator since
Right.
he's come to the Nets, basically.
KD can go out there and give you the buckets. Harden can give you the buckets when he needs to, but he's the facilitator now. I feel like without Kyrie out there, that's when James Harden steps it up and gives you.
Yeah, he has to.
Right, he steps.
He has to produce in terms of scoring.
Right,
correct.
But he doesn't have. When you have Kyrie, he doesn't have to. You got Blake Griffin, who is out. Like when I say Blake Griffin, I'm not talking about the dunk on you, Blake Griffin. Although he showed that during a couple of little stretches, but Blake can shoot the three decent. LaMarcus Aldridge, mid-range killer.
I wouldn't depend on Blake Griffin to shoot a 3, but continue.
Well, no, I'm not depending on him to shoot the 3, but what I'm saying is he's out there still giving you 15 and 10 a night.
I don't know. I see a glaring flaw with your team, and it's basically the bench. And in terms of a bench, you need that in order to get over the hump and win an NBA championship. You need an actual bench in order for this to happen, because in a 7-game series, we can't just depend on Harden and KD to pull you through. You can't do that.
So we could go. Okay, well, that would, since it's not Kyrie. Kyrie's not. Let me say my piece about Kyrie, then we can go on. This nigga. We're not even gonna talk about this nigga. Real we talk about championship for us. When we talk about with the Knicks, what round they get smacked in? Like, get the fuck out of here, nigga. Get out of here. Go back to whatever hole you crawled out of, nigga. But Kyrie is gonna do 2 things. One, he's gonna do what Kyrie wanted.
Bless you,
Lord of mercy.
Bless you,
Kyrie's gonna do whatever he wants to do, and the Nets are gonna do whatever the best for them.
Right.
Kyrie's issue is not the actual vaccination. Kyrie's issue is he feels like the NBA has so much power to mandate what players should and shouldn't do with their bodies. So, KD and Harden and everybody have already spoke to him. If you notice, they never spoke out against Kyrie. They knew about this months ago, and they side with their teammate. They are supporting Kyrie in his motion. So they were prepared to play without him because they all knew it was going to come down to this at some point. At some point.
Right.
So the only people that are surprised that, oh my God, we're not going to have Kyrie is everybody else. My team already knew this was happening. I've been telling you that niggas were looking like, okay, so we don't have Kyrie. Like, the fuck what? Like, we just going to roll over and die because we don't have Kyrie?
No, of course not. Of course not. People got to step up. Yeah, of course.
But it is what it is. Now that we are here, though. Now that we are here, I'm gonna go ahead, man. Now that we go ahead and talk sports, let's talk NBA. We're gonna change this band a little bit. Bam.
You brought that one out already.
Yeah, I know. That's what we're talking about now.
You're bringing it back.
Bringing it back.
Running it back.
Okay, so I'm gonna go over the Nets roster, and you tell me what you don't believe in. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie Irving, he's still on the roster, so he is what he is. But Kevin Durant, James Harden, Patty Mills, Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge. Let's say, are we good to assume that is our starting 5? No, that's not going to be our starting 5. Our starting 5 is going to be.
No, Patty Mills. I'm sure he's going to come off the bench.
Yeah, Patty Mills is going to come off the bench, and Joe Harris is in that starting 5. Mm-hmm. So our starting 5 is Kevin Durant, James Harden, Joe Harris, and Blake Griffin. Let's say.
You guys still have DeAndre?
Nah, he's a Laker now.
Oh, right. He is. You're right.
Let's just say. whoever. Let's just go ahead and say
at the 5.
yeah. Let's just say LaMarcus, just for the fuck of it, just for conversation's sake.
Yeah, yeah.
On the bench we have Cameron Thomas, Paul Millsap, Patty Mills, Bruce Brown. Like after that, you get kind of sketchy. After that, you get kind of sketchy. After that, it's kind of sketchy.
I think after Patty Mills, it gets kind of sketchy, but continue.
Well, no, that's not true. Because niggas out like Bruce Brown didn't have a great season last year.
Oh my god.
What is oh my god? What is the problem?
What did Bruce Brown do in the playoffs?
In the playoffs? Hold on. I don't want to lie because I don't want to know what he did in the playoffs. I know what he did for the season.
Correct. Yes. We're not talking about season because, again, we're talking about the Nets, and you're claiming that they are a championship team. So,
yes.
Yeah. So, talk to me about the bench
of a championship.
Of a so-called championship.
That's what I'm talking to you about. That's what I'm talking to you about, right? Hold up. I'm pulling it up. Because what I need you to do is tell me what the niggas that he's playing against did in the playoffs. Like who are you telling me is gonna equip to beat us and what they did in the playoffs?
The eventual champions are still there.
You believe that the Bucks are gonna? I'm asking you.
Yeah, of course. Why not? They are the defending champions for a reason, and Giannis actually he's now pulling up and shooting threes. Like he thinks he's Steph Curry all of a sudden. And I think the Knicks are gonna have something to say.
Okay, so here goes the playoffs last year. Mm-hmm. He didn't. It doesn't have the averages for whatever reason,
right.
For last year, but I could go over the scores for you. Mm-hmm. And the first game, he had 2 points, 1 block, and 5 boards.
But in how many minutes?
He was in 18 minutes. Okay. He was +6. In the second game, he had 6 points. This was only for 12 minutes. Sorry. Okay. So he had 6 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. Okay. 15 minutes, he had 2 points, 2 assists, 3 boards. Okay. In game 4, he had 14. Now, this is again in 23 minutes, though. Mm-hmm. 14 points, 1 block, 7 rebounds, 1 assist.
That's a lot better.
In game 5, 10 points, 4 steals, 5 assists, 8 rebounds. Again, 23 minutes. Against Milwaukee, game 1, 6 points, 20 minutes, 6 points, 2 blocks, good. 1 steal.
Not good. Continue.
Wait, 2 blocks, a steal isn't good? Or the points?
Nah, not in 20 minutes.
As a 2 guard, 2 blocks isn't good?
It's cool, but it's not enough.
2 guard, nigga, you can't bring up another nigga who got 2 blocks in 20 minutes. Nigga, stop it. As a big man, I would understand that maybe, but as a guard, no, I'm not hearing that.
I'm just saying in terms of overall production. Maybe in that facet, in that aspect, maybe it's it's good.
13 points, 4 assists, 6 rebounds.
Which game is this?
20 minutes. That's game 2.
Okay.
20 in 37 minutes. 16 points, 1 block, 1 steal, 3 assists, 11 rebounds. So he had a double-double.
Correct.
That game.
And you've mentioned 5 or 6 games roughly already, and this is the first game where he's done something.
Bro, 14 points.
Worthwhile.
14, 10, and 13 off your bench.
That's great.
That's great. Like those are numbers I just gave you. So he's had 1, 2. Okay, I've given. Let's just make this quicker for the people who are listening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Out of 12 postseason games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 have been double digits. 2 have been double doubles. What more do you want off your bench? This is not a nigga starting. This is what I'm trying to get you. This is my point. Off your bench, you got a nigga coming on giving you a double double in 25 minutes. Off your bench. On top of this is not Bruce. Bruce Brown ain't the go-to guy. That ain't the sixth man.
Obviously, he's not.
Patty Mills. And then you still got Paul Mills. So if your eighth dude on your roster can give you a double-double off the bench.
Well, that's you, sir.
Thank you. That is my point. If your eighth option can give you a double-double off the bench, I don't see a problem here. If we go to somebody else's, let's just pull up anybody. Who's another? You know what? Let's pull up the Knicks. Let's pull up the Knicks roster.
Yeah,
Since this is what we're doing. Let's pull up the Knicks roster.
Pull
So who would be the Knicks' eighth best player? Who would be the Knicks? I'm asking you, Knicks fan.
Let me see here.
Who would be the Knicks' eighth best player, or their seventh best player?
Let me see. You could throw me some names.
Okay.
If you have it up.
R.J. Barrett, Derrick Rose, Kemba Walker, Quentin Grimes, Austin Rivers, Kevin Knox, Ignaz, whatever this nigga's name is, Toppin, Norvel Pele, Julius
I'd say Obi
Randle.
Toppin. Obi Toppin, I'd say.
He's the eighth best nigga on your team? That's not true. I don't believe that. I don't believe that because niggas always talking about him. There's no way he's the eighth best nigga on your team and he's always on a highlight or he's always getting talked about. I don't believe he's the eighth best nigga on your team.
Well, this is last year we're talking about, so. Throw me some more names.
I believe Evan Fournier, Emmanuel Quigley.
Nah, those are new. Yeah, Quigley was there last year. Fournier he's on this year.
Let's do this. We're gonna go back to the. We're gonna go back to the next roster.
You got to go back, yeah. While you're at the controls.
Alex Burke, Josh Gibson. There we go. View more items. More items. God damn it! I gotta because what I'm trying to see is what you consider RJ Evan Fournier, Alec Burke, Taj Gibson. Oh, you want to say Taj Gibson's or Mal McBride or Noel Orleans is probably up there. Derrick Rose is definitely Derrick Rose is definitely higher than eighth. So let's just go.
Yeah,
let's go like this. Yeah. Derrick Rose, Kemba, Julius. Those are top three. Evan Fournier is definitely.
He's
5.
new to the roster.
Alec Burke is 6. RJ 7. I'd even put Kevin Knox before RJ.
Kevin Knox, he hasn't even played like that. So,
but here we go. And this is what I'm saying. Team stat, player stats. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're looking at. Here we go. This looks like a nigga who might. Where does Alfred Payton? Where is he on your list?
Alfred Payton, he's all the way in the bottom.
All right, so Knox has Morgan. Look, all right, so what y'all want to do? Because I'm looking at a bunch of niggas on your team that average 17 points, 11 points, 12 points. Now, this is during the season. We're not even talking playoffs. We're not even talking playoffs. Because I didn't even pull up Bruce Brown's regular season stats.
Right, correct.
I didn't even pull up his regular season stats.
Right.
Because see, he got playoff stats.
Right.
We didn't go there. But
yeah, 3 games, yeah.
5 games. Don't do that. Don't do that. He had a whole other series in you because he didn't get booked in the first round.
Ooh.
But what I'm saying is, like I'm looking at a bunch of niggas, and none of them niggas looking like they doing nothing better than him. So, what is the uproar about an 8th nigga on the roster looking like that? It'd be different. It'd be different if we were talking starters.
It's just the fact that you guys have no bench.
It'd be different if we were talking starters. What's happening? Toppers or Burks? Okay, so
that's what I said. I said Toppers
right.
at first.
And my point is, so you're telling me that having a 8th nigga on your seat and Bruce Brown being the 8th best nigga on your team, that's a problem? Paul Millsap a walking double still. Not a high one, but we talking maybe 11 and 10.
He could still contribute. He could definitely still contribute. You guys improved, especially this season with the signings that you made to the bench. The bench has definitely improved. Will it be enough to win a championship? We will see about that. But this is the reason why they worked on the bench this season. Don't you understand where I'm coming from now? This is the reason why the Nets worked on the bench, because that was a glaring flaw last season.
I could say we had it, but that wasn't the reason we lost. Like, that wasn't why we lost.
That was one of the reasons why you lost.
Because our two of our big three went down with injuries. That's why we lost.
That was also part of it as well.
That was part. If we're breaking this up into 100% pie, which part was the goddamn injuries and what part was the bench?
Obviously,
the injuries was probably like 80%.
Obviously, the stars. I completely understand where you're coming from. Basketball is a team game, regardless.
You're right.
It's a team game, regardless, and other people have to step up, and we all know this. And the other people who were supposed to step up didn't do it for the Nets, and that's why they faced their demise against the Bucks.
I'm gonna be honest with you too. It wasn't even the bench. If Joe Harris, our starter, had stepped up, it wouldn't have mattered. All we needed was Joe Harris to step up. Think about some of those games with KD where he carried the load.
Of course it did, Pancho.
If Joe Harris steps up in any of those games at all,
right,
and it's Joe Harris of the normal regular season,
fair enough.
It doesn't matter.
Fair enough.
You don't have to worry about the bench or the injuries because he would have been enough to make it happen. He wasn't. So it's not just the bench because it would have never had to come down to the bench.
It came down to injuries, basically. It came down to injuries.
Injuries and Joe Harris not living up to his position. I feel like, and once again, this may sound crazy, but I feel like if Joe Harris were taken out at some point and they put in Bruce Brown, this wouldn't happen. Because Bruce Brown wasn't scared of the moment. He just didn't necessarily have the time on the floor because they wanted Joe Harris out there for some reason.
I mean, that was Steve Nash's decision.
You're right. I didn't like how it was coached down the stretch.
That was another thing too. In a lot of spots, I think, especially in the ECF against the Bucks, you can see they were plainly outcoached, and they became just overly reliant on KD to finish each and every game. And KD is only human,
yep.
And it's just too much to ask, of one superstar to close every game, bruh. Basketball, like I said, is a team game.
That's a lot. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to football. Otherwise, we'll never get out of here.
Yeah, that's it. Last topic.
Football.
I want to talk about nothing else.
Anything else that happened? Anything that interesting? Anything? Are you interested in anything that's about to happen today? Because we are an hour away from football.
Yes, I am actually interested in the Ravens-Chargers game. That's going to be pretty good. We have two of the young premier quarterbacks going against each other, and Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert. So that's going to be an interesting matchup, and I think that's a 1 p.m. matchup, if I'm not mistaken. So, Power Folk, look out for that. Ravens looking good, bro.
I got to give it to them. Ravens are looking good.
Ravens are looking very good, and Lamar Jackson right now is looking like a very much polished pocket passer, which is a great thing for them because he becomes even a greater threat, not just with his legs, he becomes a threat with his arm as well. And I think it puts Baltimore in a prime position to even come out of the AFC, because it seems like the Chiefs are faltering. It seems like the Chiefs are not the Chiefs that we're used to seeing. They basically have that traditional Super Bowl hangover, and we're looking at them like they're playing very sloppy. They're not executing their plays like they're supposed to. I think mentally they're a little bit off as well as a team. Defensively, they are garbage. The Chiefs, they're just garbage. They can't defend anything at this moment in time.
They've never really been able to defend anything.
No, but they're like bad, bro. Like at this moment in time, like the Chiefs defense is like you could just write them off, even before the game starts. Bad. All right, we're gonna score I don't know, you could put an over of like 30 points. This is what we're gonna score today. We may go over it. More than likely we will go over it because we're playing against the Chiefs defense and they're just trash at this moment.
But that's how it's if you go back, bro, this is what I was talking about. The Chiefs have always been this way. They've always been this way. The only difference is for some reason they're having problems scoring this season. The Chiefs were averaging 35 points a game when they won it. 35 a game, bro. Which meant that we were guaranteed we was gonna come out and put up 35. And if you can't score 35, and then, remember they lost against the Patriots. I mean, they lost. What was it? They lost against the Rams, 58-55. Bro, there was no defense in that game. You're talking about the same team.
It's a complete shootout.
These niggas, the Chiefs defense are only good enough to do one thing. They were good enough to get you stops when you had to have them in critical down on 3rd and 15 and
they don't even do that anymore.
That's the difference. They don't do that anymore. And that's when you don't do that anymore and you're only scoring 24, 27 a game. Sorry.
I'm telling you, they have a pure traditional case of the Super Bowl hangover at this moment in time, and it's just showing, Yeah. I mean, and you know what? I just want to credit the Cowboys as well for what they're doing at the moment. At least they're playing to their schedule. And even in their loss that they had to Tampa, they outplayed the Buccaneers.
We did.
However, they obviously lost the game.
We did.
But I credit the Cowboys and what they're doing right now in respect to their schedule. I just want to see once they go against those obviously top-tier teams, how they're going to react. But kudos to Dak, man, to come back from the leg injury that he had, to have the season that he's currently having at the moment. He's being so efficient because right now it seems like with the playbook, they're not allowing him to throw more than 30 times a game, which is also a good thing because it gets Zeke in the mix and it provides some sort of balance for that offense.
And Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard also. Correct. He gets to really just move about.
Correct. And I can't say enough about Diggs and what he's doing, man. He's doing something historic at the moment. He may break a 69-year-old record, I believe, of the most interceptions in a regular season. And this is something that we have to continue to watch because this is historic what's going on right now.
I don't know why niggas still throwing on the side. I don't know why niggas is throwing to his side anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, this is giving me like 1995, 1994, 1993 Deion Sanders vibes at the moment. And it really is amazing, bro, what he's doing at the moment. And just enough credit to that man because I think he even switched positions because he used to play wide receiver in college and then he switched to cornerback. So
I think that's why his hands are so good.
Oh my god.
He's able to read those routes so well. Also, what
turns into the receiver.
What has impressed me so much about him is it, of course, it's the interceptions and the defense, But outside of the interceptions, if you ever watch or look at the numbers,
right,
even if it's not an interception, he's on that ass.
yeah, he's there deflecting
He's there.
passes,
He's
breaking
deflecting
things
passes.
up.
Like
Mm-hmm.
he's always there. He's all, and to me, that's the sign of a true defensive back. The interceptions are nice. Those are nice. But to know that no
But the
matter if you throw it,
coverage,
bro, you throw a lob, you can throw a fade, you can throw a short, you can throw a curl, you can
and
throw
he's
an in
gonna
route,
break it up.
and that nigga's gonna be there. He gonna be there no matter what you try and do. And I
Exactly.
love that. So yeah, him and Micah, man, Micah.
And I don't know. This is something else I wanted to highlight. I don't know what the Cowboys have done in the I'd say in the past 4 or 5 seasons in terms of the draft, but they've been hitting home runs. They've been hitting home runs with certain players. You know, they have Dak, they have Zeke. I think Zeke is still he could be very efficient.
Oh yeah.
You know, if used the correct way. They have Diggs. They have a bunch of stars on the offensive line. I mean, the Cowboys have top 3 offensive line off the bat. And you know, whatever they've been doing, I don't know if it's Jerry or I don't know if it's his son or whoever's doing the scouting over there for the Cowboys. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, they are. They're doing a hell of a job.
And all it takes is, you know, a coach and a staff to get this together and just make it work. But again, the determining factor will be who the Cowboys are in crisis against obviously a top tier team, a better team, and you know, in the NFC gauntlet, you know, at this moment in time.
There you go. There's a couple things I want to see. We played the Pats today. Outside of that, I think, like I said, I think this week plays out kind of like last week. The better teams are really going to win out. Yeah, right. You might get one game that's a little tougher than another, but there's nothing this week that really stands out to me. Oakland's going to have a hard game because they just had to deal with that whole Coach Gruden situation.
Correct.
And it is what it is.
Wait, so the Dolphins and the Jaguars are playing in Europe or something? Because I'm seeing that they're in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, their game started already.
Why would they torment those people out in Europe with a game like that with the Dolphins and Jaguars? Like between them, they only have one win. It's like, why would you send people? Oh my god, why would you send?
Because they're still professional teams.
Still, bruh.
I don't know why they sent them. I don't know,
bruh.
I don't know.
That's like the scrub bowl.
Let's go ahead and get them out of here. I need some breakfast.
That's the doodle bowl.
Oh, Lord of mercy.
The toilet bowl.
Toilet bowl.
Yeah, exactly. That's what exactly it is. The toilet bowl.
I need some breakfast.
Bruh.
So it is that time. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all. Please follow, comment, subscribe, share, whatever it is you do to support.
Get that merch, engage with us.
Yeah, whatever it is you do to support, man, it can be free. We just support this. We love the support. We appreciate it.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, if you haven't, please go subscribe to the YouTube page. Please tell your friends about us. Whatever it is, go somewhere, do something great today. Be great people. You heard me?
That's it. Stay positive.
Yeah, we'll see you next Sunday, people.
We gonna make it.
Yeah.